it's always a highlight of any visit to the Palace of Westminster to have a trip through the Royal Gallery, which of course in normal times doesn't have this seating there at all. It's a great open expanse. And it's one of the most impressive and splendid spaces in the palace itself, and that is saying something, because the robing room itself, with its Arthurian portraits, is a beautiful room. A couple of years ago, I was in there listening to former President Carter give an address on the kind of contribution that the UN can make and what he thought of that, and the contribution indeed that he could make in health terms across the world. So President Carter, just one of the former heads of state who's been in Parliament to give addresses either in the robing room or in the Royal Gallery itself. There have been some exceptions to that, of course. Some heads of state have been allowed to address both Houses of Parliament in Westminster Hall. That's seen to be an even greater honour because of the historical resonance of Westminster Hall itself. So we're within seconds, I think, of the Queen's emergence from the robing room and the fanfare by the state trumpeters to tell us that this state opening of Parliament of 2019 is to get underway. The Guards of Honour, provided by the Yeomen of the Guard in the Royal Gallery, still in place after they marched in well over half an hour ago. The heralds, who are facing the robing room as we look, ready to turn and lead into the Prince's chamber, into the House of Lords. And we'll see the gentlemen at arms as well featuring in that procession a little later on. We'll have the heads of the armed forces, the Air Force and the Navy and the Army, and they will be taking part as well. And we'll see some of the senior political leaders who will be gathered in the House of Lords when the Queen's speech gets underway. And as I say, one of the most, I suppose, dramatic and familiar sections of the day is when the Queen arrives in the House of Lords and gives the signal to summon members of the House of Commons. And that is when Black Rod, the new Black Rod, Sarah Clarke, will get her attempt to go down and savour the atmosphere, if you like, in the House of Commons and see what kind of welcome she gets when she arrives there in a few minutes' time to summon the Speaker and the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, and they will all walk together through the central lobby and up to the bar of the House of Lords, that's to say the entrance point of the House of Lords, to witness the speech itself. Marquis of Cholmondeley, whose job it is today to carry the crown, normally worn by the Queen, but not today, to carry the crown at the head of the procession. And there we have the Queen's official consort today, the Prince of Wales, who will be 71 next month, having served almost a lifetime as heir to the throne and as Prince of Wales. The Queen was attended so many of these state openings, apart from a few over the years, but the vast majority of them, and will know exactly where every single member of the pageantry and the ceremonial is meant to be, and has a very sharp eye for the detail of the entire thing. I'm told that she misses nothing along the way, so there'll be lots of nerves there among the yeomen and all the others about exactly where they're standing and exactly how they're holding themselves. The train bearers who've been specially chosen, and then of course we have the principal members of the procession, including the captain of the gentlemen at arms and the captain of the yeomen of the guard, who also feature in the procession today. And passing the gentlemen at arms who are lining the Prince's chamber, providing a guard of honour in the Prince's chamber, a short walk through past the statue of Queen Victoria just on the left there, past the portrait of Henry VIII and the other Tudor monarchs, and into this magnificent chamber of the House of Lords, the masterpiece of Barry and Pugin. The Queen will approach and take her place on the throne of the House of Lords with the Prince of Wales next to her. The crown will be placed on the table. The Duchess of Cornwall will take her place on the state chair that's been put there on the right-hand side. And the first thing that we'll hear from the Queen is an invitation to the members of the House of Lords and guests to be seated.
My lords, pray be seated.
Crown being placed, the Queen will signal her approval for Black Rod. Marquis of Cholmondeley gives his signal with his stave of office, and the signal has been received by the Lady Usher of the Black Rod, Sarah Clark, in her first state opening, so a very big moment for her, taking part in one of the most famous pieces of parliamentary ceremonial that we have. Making her way down from the central lobby, Black Rod is announced, and approaching the members' lobby of the House of Commons, where the members congregate, and approaching the door of the Commons, which will be slammed in her face as a sign of the authority of the House of Commons. Three very firm knocks.
Black Rod!
And she enters. Will there be any heckling? There might be.
Mr. Speaker, the Queen commands this Honourable House to attend Her Majesty immediately in the House of Peers.
No.
No. Some words of dissent there, and no prizes for guessing who they came from. The veteran Labour MP for Bolsover, Dennis Skinner, who specialises in a bit of heckling on these events. And there we have, the first time Boris Johnson as Prime Minister walking with Jeremy Corbyn, the Leader of the Opposition, on this Queen's Speech Day. Ian Blackford of the SNP, Liz Savile-Roberts of Plaid Cymru, members of the Cabinet and the Labour front bench, including John McDonnell, all of them walking in, not quite in a rush, but certainly there's always a bit of jostling, I have to say, when it gets to the middle and back of the queue, because they know that unless they jostle, they won't get anywhere near the House of Lords. Nick Brown, the Chief Whip for Labour, Andrea Leadsom for the Conservatives, Sajid Javid there, the Chancellor, who says he'll be delivering a budget next month. And Laura, a bit of chatting going on.
Between the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, it doesn't look like they're agreeing on very much. Boris Johnson trying to have a bit of a chinwag there, and Jeremy Corbyn, eyes firmly fixed forward. It's just occurring to me, watching them come through, they have even less in common than Jeremy Corbyn had with Theresa May.
So there you have the crush. Look at it. 650 MPs trying to get out of the House of Commons all at the same time. By tradition, some will stay behind in the Commons. They won't go. Michael Ellis there for the Conservatives. And James Cleverly there. Joe Johnson, also Conservatives. Mike Gapes with Nicky Morgan. And here we are. So here we have the new Lord Chancellor, Robert Buckland, who has the speech in his ceremonial purse. We'll present it to the Queen. Steps back one and then turns around.
My Lords and members of the House of Commons, my government's priority has always been to secure the United Kingdom's departure from the European Union on the 31st of October. My government intends to work towards a new partnership with the European Union based on free trade and friendly cooperation. My ministers will work to implement new regimes for fisheries, agriculture and trade, seizing the opportunities that arise from leaving the European Union. An immigration bill ending free movement will lay the foundation for a fair, modern and global immigration system. My government remains committed to ensuring that resident European citizens who have built their lives in and contributed so much to the United Kingdom have the right to remain. The bill will include measures that reinforce this commitment. Steps will be taken to provide certainty, stability, and new opportunities for the financial services and legal sectors. My government's new economic plan will be underpinned by a responsible fiscal strategy, investing in economic growth while maintaining the sustainability of the public finances. Measures will be brought forward to support and strengthen the National Health Service, its workforce and resources, enabling it to deliver the highest quality care. New laws will be taken forward to help implement the National Health Service's long-term plan in England.